Oof, does. Okay, let's make sure we got everything set here. I'm unorganized. That's all right. We'll get it. All right, highlighter. Let's see. Oh, here we go. This one to that one. Okay. Oh, there's people here already. Hello, people. To the peoples out there, good evening. Hi. Hello. I'm a little bit earlier than my 7 o'clock, but, I'm terrible with time stuff. So forgive me. But I'm excited I was able to come on tonight. So I'm looking for my favorite pen. Only just a couple minutes. I know a lot of people said the last time they did get notifications. So I'm going to wait and see if that's happened again. Thanks, Frank. Thank you. Oh my goodness. So, all right. Here we go. I'm going to get this. This is just a case I've been looking at, but tonight, back to work tomorrow, John. No. Hello, Dolores. Hello. Dang it, tomorrow. Now I have, so I've got a couple cases tonight. I'm going to be, of course, going through the Georgia case, right? We have the Georgia RICO case is back, like, I don't know, would Frankenstein's monster or would Dracula? I don't know. Anyway, it's back. It's been brought back from Zombieland. So we'll go through that. But then I also have this other case I want to give you a heads up about because it's really interesting. Oh, the canvas continues. Oh, my goodness. Hello, Doughboy. Good to see you, Anita. Hello, welcome. Welcome in, everybody. Oh, I'm so excited to be able to sit down tonight. Sometimes I can't, and that bums me out. But when I can, I sure have a great time hanging out with y'all. Hello, June Marie. Navy vet. Well, right. Why did they? Great question. I think because it wasn't unalived properly. Hello, Jelly Kelly. Hello, Kristen. Thank you, everybody. Cute nails. Oh, thank you so much. So, for those of you here already, and I'll probably say this again, so I don't want to bore you, but for those of you who have been here with me for a while, now I've been here like a couple of years now. I am not a big, gift person. All right. If people want to send gifts up, great, and I'm always very thankful for that. And I just put it right back into whatever it is I might need for the show, to run the show. I'm not here to make like a salary. I'm not here to make, I'm not getting a mansion. All right. I'm here, and if I can, if the gifts help me to get another pen or paper, that's wonderful, and I love it. So I just want to make sure that's clear, because right now there are a lot of lives out there with a lot of gift stuff going on, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just not how I roll over here. Right. I do exactly, not for the profit. That's right. Oh my gosh. She's such an amazing artist. Oh, that song gets in my head and I love it. Anyway, back to it. So I do have a friend, wonderful Aaron, who comes by and he might do a couple shout outs for gifts. And then I went through the list and I just pick out the cutest thing in the gift area for people. If you would like to, that's fine. But no requirements, everyone. I'm not trying to buy a refrigerator or anything. So I just want to make sure everyone knows that that's how I feel. So just clarifying. I got a new tripod. Thanks, by the way, for the gifts. So yes, see the confetti. Oh my gosh, that's the one I picked. Look at that. Oh my gosh, I just wanted confetti all over the place all the time. So I think I picked the right gift. I'm happy about that one. Yay. But I did all those gifts that you sent me before. I was able to use that, and I did. I got a new tripod, and I'm very excited. Right. I'm very excited about it. Okay, so welcome in. Yay, believe me. See, isn't that fun? We had oh my gosh, I'm going to say it wrong again. Was it the naughty chicken yesterday? I think it was the naughty chicken. And blessings. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I think we had the naughty chicken, which was hilarious. But that was face to face, right? So the chicken could go, wander around and be fun. But tonight I thought, well, confetti, that'll be great. Well, thanks, Anthony. Thank you so much. I do try to take my time. I think it's really just something fun to pamper yourself once in a while, right? Hello, June Marie again. Thank you for the tapping, everyone. So here we are. What's going on? I will get this set out here. I have this case I've been looking after, everyone, and I'm not going to go through the case tonight, but I wanted to start kind of when I'm doing my lives like these to give a little extra bit. So a little extra something if you're interested in going and looking up something, for that's legal, that's interesting. So that would be this case here that I have. I will be going over it in a live at some point. It's too early in the game for me to really spend much time on it. But this case, let me get my pen here. Got to match the confetti, matching confetti energy. All right. So we have, oh my gosh, we have U.S. District Court, Eastern District of New York, and it's the Massapequa Union Free School District. And Board of Education as the plaintiffs versus Miss Rosa in her official capacity as the Commissioner of Education. And then we have a few other people. We've got Miss Miranda as the Commissioner of New York State Human Rights, Miss Letitia James in her capacity as Attorney General for the state of New York, Jane Doe and John Doe on behalf of their minor daughter, Janie Doe. I don't know if I've seen a Janie Doe before. So I think this might be my first one. So this was a complaint that they filed and it had to do with a law that had been put into place saying that you could not use indigenous depictions for sports teams, right? We kind of have been dealing with that for a while. Hello, Kaya, good to see you. Is it a new one? I've not seen that one before, right? So again, what happened was they had this law put into place, and then they have, for this particular school district, it is an indigenous person, a man, with a full headdress on. And so it's, that would be a violation of that code. So they've come in and they've said, look, we want to take care here that we don't have negative sanctions occurring to us because of that. So this is just to clarify, this is the complaint that they put in here. Oh, yes, thanks, VC. Yes, and I do have a direct, place if you're specifically wanting to help with sticky notes and highlighters. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. All right, here we go. So defendant here is part of this, and they're saying the commissioner presided over the Doe proceeding and issued the stay order on October 14th. She sued in her official capacity. So they're fighting about this law that was written. So again, I'm waiting to hear what's really going on. There's been some controversial reporting regarding the judge here who's like, this is bologna sandwich. So this is kind of my homework, extra credit assignment for anyone who's interested is just to show you this case again. If you care to look it up, and I think it's very interesting. Again, it's about indigenous culture and mascots, and this is a public school that we're talking about here. So this is the name of the case. Here's the case number, and it's kind of just getting started, so not too much going on, so you should have plenty of time to take a look if you're interested, okay? Oh, of course, VC, exactly. Exactly. It's so weird. I kind of pop around on all kinds of different lives, everyone, as you all know. And there's some lives where I'm like, I can't see because there's so many gifts popping up, which I think is great. But for me, that's just not how I roll over here, literally in my chair. Cross stitcher, hello, good to see you. All right, let's get to it, everybody. Let's dive in. We're in Georgia tonight, all right? I've been popping everywhere, I know. I I haven't. It's true. It's been a lot of fun too. So we've got an order, everybody. We've got an order that came out just a couple of days ago by the executive director. Now, as we know, and I'll take you through again the Georgia indictment here. We had 19 people charged. We had, I think it was 41 counts. We had a RICO included. And let me grab my other chart here. That's a minute here. I'm not sure if I put it back in or not. Sometimes if I have this particular picture out, the hubs will take it and hide it. So I hope he didn't hide it. We'll see. There we go. No, those are the judges. We've got that. I think he has moved it. Anyway, I've got the mug shots. I should have had that ready to go. Seriously, I had the mug shots out, and I think the husband hid it because he's like, I can't look at the face. Anyway, bottom line is, all of the people were charged. We had all of these different counts. Then we had all of these different motions for demurs and various things, which they were challenging the law that was actually used to be charging people, saying that the law wasn't okay. Georgia's RICO law wasn't okay. Several of the different charges were done incorrectly. So the judge in this case had dismissed multiple counts and said, no, these counts aren't going to work. So you're going to have to just let them go, which, sometimes that happens. We don't know. We're kind of in a weird place historically right now with all the craziness going on in our courts. So that got done. But then also Miss Fonnie Willis's role was challenged. And the way it was challenged was because she allegedly was having some kind of a relationship with the other special prosecutor. And apparently you're not supposed to do that in Georgia. Now, technically, the ethical rules didn't say you couldn't do that. So there's that. But so the judge was like, get the dude off the case. She did, and you can go forward. But yes, post it. Right. So this is the indictment, the Georgia indictment right here. All right. So don't let me forget. I'll clear it up. So what was I saying? Okay. 3 people had pled out. Cheese and Crackers pled out. Actually, we had 4 people. Cheese and Crackers, the airplane pilot dude, and then the lady that was crying. Anyway, those people pled out, so they're done. But all the rest of these defendants are still on the hook. So we've been going all the way up through, yes. We've been going all the way up through the courts here, trying to get this case going again. The courts finally said, you got to go. You can't stay, Miss Willis. And so she left. All right, here we go. Sorry, everybody. I talked so much. Husband, thank you. I don't need a jump scare. All right, I will. Seriously, I'm not kidding you, everybody. He'll come in. And for some reason, that's the only thing. Like, I've had a lot of other stuff out here. But if that particular picture's here, he will put it somewhere. And I'm like, where'd you put it? And he's like, I'm not going to tell you. So I'll have to go track it down. Anyway, crying Jenna, yes. So we've been waiting. It's gone all the way up, all the way back down again now. And they had a group, or basically it's like a council of attorneys that, this guy actually, I think he's the only one on the council. I'm not 100% sure, but this guy here, Peter Skandalakis. That's a great name. Whoa, Skandalakis. All right. So he was the one looking in to see how we could thank him. All right, I will. I don't need to see the face. That's funny. So, all right. He said, I am going to do it myself. So he is now appointed himself to be the prosecutor. And rumor on the street is that he's just starting to get into the paperwork and look through the stuff before making a decision, because he could dismiss the case. He could cut some of the counts out. He could go full board on whatever. But it's up to him now. So here's the order that came out. You keep telling me to do a sticky note, and then I just forget, like, immediately afterwards. All right, so this is, we'll do this. We'll call this the Georgia versus T-Rump case. Yeah, that didn't work out very well. My spacing wasn't good. Here we go. Let's try it again. Try it again. Georgia here. Nope, that's not working either. All right, hold on just a minute. So, right, actually, Judge McAfee has cut more than 3. I think he's cut 6 for sure, and then I think there were 3 others that he was cutting right when we were getting appeals going. Frank, I'm working on it. I'm trying to get the sticky note ready. All right, here, let's try this one again. So we've got a Georgia here. Georgia v. Mr. T. Rump. And again, I have to be careful so that I don't trigger anything. So this is the RICO case here. RICO case. And I can't say the E word, so I'll have to be careful about that. But we've got a new prosecutor who is going to be looking over everything at this point. So I thought it would be great for us to kind of go through it. Let's take a look and see so we can remember which counts were pulled, what exactly everybody was charged with. Prosecution. That took me forever to write. Oh my gosh, I know. That's so funny. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do. New prosecution person. All right, everybody. I got to stop talking while I'm doing this, okay? So, let's put some elevator music on. I've got to get it this time. My goodness. All right, elevator music, everybody. Okay, we made it. We made it. Now, the problem, again, though, is that I thought I had put those mug shots just right over here. Let me just peek one more time. I know you're all like, my eyes are burning, but I really thought I had it. I know there'll be plenty more opportunities to go through it, but that's kind of weird, right? Well, it's my husband's call, of course. So maybe... All right, one more peek before I gotta just try to figure out how to let it go. I have a visual aid and it's perfect, but I can't find it. This is like my worst nightmare. Oh my goodness. Come on. Come on. Here, where are you at? One more look. Nope. No. Yes, I found it. Oh my gosh, I found it. Oh, all right. The really big problem here is that I didn't know where it was, and I should know where it was. All right, everybody, I found it. Careful, jump scare coming, okay? Here we go. So this, we have a little extra, little extra goodness there. I know, the husband, right? I know, it's hard to look. But we'll just do a quick refresher on the people here. Oh my gosh, every time. So as I was saying before, this guy, Mr. Hall, he had pled, had the RICO put off. That's the only one. The RICO charge has a 5-year minimum prison sentence that's not negotiable. So they're like, whoa, we don't want that. So he pled out. Cheesebro pled out. He's the Wisconsin attorney. He's part of the team here. He's actually, I think, one of the people that came up with the things to send it in. To send in the collectors. Anyway, he's had his license revoked. This one here. Sydney Powell, so he was cheese and she was crackers. You guys remember that? I had so much fun with that. All right, update on cheese and crackers. That was a lot of fun. All right, she was not disbarred because she's from Texas. Now, this is Jenna Ellis, and, she's kind of a younger attorney, and she kind of hooked her, I don't want to say that. How do I want to say this? She and Giuliani she was supporting him when he was out there telling all this bologna sandwich information to different legislative bodies. She was with him. So, yes, guilty. They were guilty back when we had higher hopes. I know, right? Well, when we revisit, we can keep going forward here. Wagon to shoe polish head. Here's your wagon, that's right. Oh my goodness, everybody. I'm not even had any sugar today. I'm just so happy to be here. All right. The point was she pled guilty and she felt really bad about it. So she actually put an apology in when she was getting her plea agreement put together and was apologizing. Ms. Powell had to write a I'm sorry letter. So it was like 2 sentences. I'm sorry that you think I did something wrong. Bye. and so on. So these were the 4. That means this case has been ongoing while all of this like brouhaha about the prosecutor has been going. And all of these people still have a case against them. So we've got Mr. Floyd here. There are 3 primary categories of the people charged. We have the fake elector scheme. We have the Coffee County situation going on with that. And then we have the call. So we all remember the Georgia call, right? Right. I'm not sure if it's a shingle. Right. Oh my gosh, this is going to be an extra funny live. I can just sense it. So here we go. This guy. So Mr. Floyd, Mr. Meadows, and Mr. Meadows has filed maybe 25 different motions to try to get his case, his RICO case in Georgia, which is a state case, moved to federal court. So he has filed over and over and over again saying, well, I was a federal employee at the time, I should be protected, and it should be in federal court. And every single time the federal courts have been like, no. And so he appealed it as far as humanly possible, and it got sent back, right? He got sent back, so he's got to come into Georgia. And then we've got Miss Cuddy here. She's a little different. She's a witness. Cuddy and Floyd worked together for one of the pieces of kind of like a fraudulent situation that they got set up. What? Kristen? I'm laughing at that. Well, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I try to take the filters off, but whatever. All right, here's Mr. Still. Here, he was part of the fake electors. Is it Jeremy? I can't remember. Is it Jeremy Clark? Jeffrey, I'm sorry. It was Jeffrey. This guy's kind of a pickle and not like a pleasant one. He's kind of a jerk. And he was going in trying to figure out how he, as an environmental attorney in the DOJ, could basically come in and take over the role of AG, which he had no experience, right? So he's the one, he drafted 3 letters fraudulently claiming there were problems. And so, they're saying the FBI needed to investigate more, right? He was the one that started that. And I know, right? My goodness. See, when I'm looking at it, I don't see a filter, but then if I glance over, I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that mascara. Oh my goodness. All right. We can't forget Jeffrey Clark. He's a bad attorney. If it's got like this little teal triangle, that means it's an attorney. So here's Mr. Roman. He got into some trouble in a more recently filed case with elector. I can't remember which state it was, but recently we've had another batch that have been, he does. He's veteran track. We have had a new batch not too long ago when it comes to fake elector stuff. I do not remember what role he played, but he has been in there. And then we've got Miss Hampton. She was, let's see, let me make sure. I think she was a local. She was a Cook County person and was in part of that whole, excuse me. Right. The older women are the ones, right, the Coffee County elections, yes. Thank you very much, VC. VC knows what she's talking about. We have been working on this case since it was first filed, right? Got my second chair here. So here's Hampton. She's there. And then here's Lee. Apparently he's a minister fella. And this Mr. Lee committed this kind of fraud or inappropriate kind of extortion almost of two of the ladies who were working the ballot stuff. I gotta be careful about how I say my words here. But so this guy, Lee, Cuddy, and Floyd were together in one of those. Right. I don't think I can even change. I can't get rid of the filter either. My hands are tied. Here's Chile. He's an attorney, and Eastman. This is the fella, everybody. This is the one that I think, Stephen Miller, of course, but I think this Eastman fella is the one that's feeding so much information in on where all the loopholes are, or where all the weak spots are, or where all the revenge spots are. Because he apparently used to teach constitutional law and is an attorney, although he's lost his license now. But constitutional law was really his area. So I have no doubt that a lot of stuff that's been going on with the executive orders and the wording kind of comes from that. Right. It's still the filter. It's so funny. Yeah. All right, he's another attorney. License is gone. And he was pretty upset about it, too, actually. He was such a jerk during his revocation hearings. Mr. Schaefer, this again was another elector involved. We all know Giuliani, who has lost all of his law licenses. Those are gone. Mr. Smith III is an attorney. I have not heard of him actually losing his license, because I think he also was a Georgia attorney. I may be wrong. I don't want to cover his face up. Frank, come on. Oh my God. Oh my goodness, the bow. That's the funniest thing ever. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Okay. Catching my breath. Oh my goodness gracious. You don't know what's up with him either. Right. I think he was. Yeah, I think he was. So one of the questions here I was looking was, I know the bow, right? Someone was asking, can they get their license back after being pardoned? They cannot be pardoned because this is a state case. So the only way to go through, well, I suppose technically they could, but the only way to go through would be through Georgia's state's system. And I believe, and help me out, VC, if I'm wrong, but I believe that there's like a committee or like a group that decides pardons versus just the governor assigning a pardon. So, but either way, it's at the state level, which means the feds can't pardon him. Board of Pardons and Parole, 5-member board. Okay, thank you so much. Yes. So if they wanted to get a pardon again in Georgia, they could try, but they're going to have to go through the hoops everybody else has to go through, which, that would be a refreshing change. All right. So this is our team. Oops, we missed one. Miss Latham up here. So Miss Latham, Miss Hampton, these two were involved in the Coffee County situation, and Sidney Powell. And I'll be going through the indictment again here, everybody. But if you may remember, they had opened the door and let people come in and get into computer software and stuff. So yeah, don't have enough time for those cases. Yeah, I agree with that. Can't take it seriously. Well, you don't have to. Oh my God. Oh dear. Who did it? Who did the turkey? Oh my goodness. All right. Professional, be professional. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Oh, my stomach hurts. I can't. It's so funny. Oh my goodness gracious, everybody. All right. Here we go. I got to get serious here. I got a serious show to do. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness gracious. Amongst friends, thank goodness. I'm about to fall out of a chair. Oh my God, the turkey skin spot on. Oh my gosh. It's true though. It's true. professional. Be professional. All right. Now more turkeys. I'm gonna have nightmares. I had nightmares. Oh my gosh. All right, everybody. All right. So that's the this is the merry band here. And of course, Mr. Orange here in the middle. Oh my gosh. So in order to have a RICO in Georgia, it's a state. All right, I can't look at the screen. I'll just keep going forward here, all right? Don't look at the screen. So funny. Oh my goodness. All right. So I'm going to look away from the screen. I'm looking here. All right. So Mr. Orange himself was the leader of the RICO. Now, this is a state RICO, which is basically when they're saying a group of people are coming together to commit an unlawful act. And there's a certain number of things or steps towards that unlawful act that occurred. So you need 2 or more. I'll get into RICO here in a minute because that's the first count. So, of course, Mr. Orange has been charged with that. Everybody has. So they may have been involved at different times at different places, but all of their behavior together fits underneath the umbrella of the RICO violation. All right, so that's the big thing here. So he has his own charges on top of the RICO charges as well. Now, I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll just take a look. All right, everybody say goodbye. Oh my gosh. No more of that. I'm gonna bust a lung. Hello, Thomas. Welcome in. Oh my goodness. All right. So here we go. Let's and we'll jump around here a little bit. I have 2, well, I've got more than that, but I've got 2 annotated versions because there were just so many pretrial motions involving demurs and all other things where I would say a demur, for those that are interested, would be similar to what we would call a bill of particulars. So some places it would be called a demur, some places it would be called a bill of particulars, meaning you need to really clarify what that law is that you're using because we don't think you're doing it right. So we had a lot of hearings, and those are all up on YouTube for anyone that wants to sit and just be like, why did I do this to myself? I know, Gail. Sorry, everybody. So that is all up online. I think the judge did a pretty good job in this case, but, he was dealt a bad hand. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in Georgia at that time. I think we still had the YSL case going on. That hadn't been able to move forward very well because of kind of the shenanigans here. And that trial was just that's one of the messiest trials I've ever seen here in my life. Right. So anyway, he had a lot of stuff on his plate. But let me take you through here. There's a lot of annotating again. Over here, we've got the state of Georgia, and then everybody is listed out here. Now, when this came out, this indictment is enormous. This is a huge freaking indictment. I would say D.A. Willis could have split this into 3 separate cases if she had wanted to, but that would have pulled the RICO out of the equation, right? Now, I know it seems a long time ago. I know it does. Anyway, she wanted it all together. So we've got this huge book of an indictment. So just FYI, this is not normal for regular criminal indictment, but it does seem to be pretty normal for the Georgia RICO cases. And they filed multiple RICO cases against multiple different entities. And they all kind of pretty much look like this, just a big, thick book here. So we've got Trump, and then their counts again are listed here. And so you probably can't see it because of my annotating, sorry. But we've got counts 1, 5, 9, 3, 13, 15, 17, 19, 27, 29, 38 through 39. Those are all of the counts that apply to Mr. Trump. So you see how they've set that out. So number 2 with Mr. Giuliani, he was charged counts 1 through 3, 6, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 24, 23. So you didn't have to commit every single count in order to be included in this indictment, so long as you were put into the category of being part of the RICO. All right, so RICO is number 1. So every single defendant was charged with number 1, and so then they could come in and kind of pick and choose which crime they wanted to include, right? Who's in charge of this? I'm not sure. Do you mean the district attorney? Or well, I suppose, I think they still are DAs, even there. So, right. So anyway, let me get back into it here. So we have 19 defendants. All right, we're just noticing 19 defendants. They're all doing different things. And then over here, the very first charge again is the RICO charge. And I'll read through that so we can have a better idea of what exactly, who's in charge of the cases. Right, so that's what's just happened here. Oh my gosh, did I not read this? I thought I read it, but then I was laughing so hard, maybe I didn't. Right, exactly, VC, you got it. So this fella here is basically taking over the case. He's like, this is going to be my case now because nobody else wanted it. RICO cases are very... did I forget or did I read it? Was the yes, you did the forget or need to? Oh, my brain is like, what are you doing? All right, well, we'll move forward. If we've got questions, we'll just deal with them when they come up. So anyway, there's a new new prosecutor. Okay, I did read it. Thanks, DC. I don't know what's happening. So new prosecutor coming in. Here, let's take a look at the charges. Again, number 1's of RICO, and I will read through that. It's only a couple paragraphs. Racketeer, Influenced and Corrupt Organization Act. Then we have solicitation of a violation of oath. And we have this one a few times here. So anything that's marked in purple. So we've got 1, 2, 3, purple, 4 here, 5, 6, I think. Yeah, and there's only perjury on the back. So there were 6 counts where there was this violation of being requested. They were requesting someone who had taken an oath to violate that oath. So this covers that very famous phone call, right? Saying, I just need 1,100 votes or whatever, and it'll be fine. That's what they're talking about because he was asking someone to violate their oath. Also, these solicitations, oath issues were when Giuliani and the team would go into the different Congresses there, right? So he went into the Georgia legislature, Georgia Senate, and said, we need you to help, right? So I'm out of the hospital, thank goodness. I'm glad. 11K, blah, blah, blah. My goodness. Exactly right, Frank. So, anywho, what happened? Why am I bringing it up? These were dismissed by the judge. So, each solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer has been dismissed. He had felt that the elements just had not been met in order to go forward on a charge on that. And, it's been a long time, everybody, but I did go through his order, pulling these 6 charges here. And, I can see where he's come from on it. I mean, the biggest piece was that the actions that led to this charge could still be used for the RICO. So the bad behavior is still able to be used to justify the RICO. Oh, thanks. Yay, confetti tonight. But they couldn't hold their own here. Oh, thanks, Natalia. I appreciate that. So those were the ones that had been kicked out. Now we've got RICO up here. We've got false statements and writings here. Again, false statements and writings. And a lot of the electors got dinged on this because they signed fake, elector paperwork. Like there's a form or whatever, and they filled it out and signed it. And that's, that was a false statement. So they were charged with that. Conspiracy to commit impersonating a public officer. This one got a little bit weird because I think we had two here impersonating. Now, I'm trying to remember. We'll go through the details of that. But I think they were presenting, I believe it was, was it Floyd and Cuddy that were claiming that they had a higher position or a specific position, so that if the two ladies didn't do what they said, then the ladies would be in trouble, right? Michigan copies. Yeah, I think you're right, Frank. I think you're right. What are we discussing? I don't see a Post-it note. Oh my goodness. Everybody, I am so terrible with the Post-it notes. It's like right next to my hand, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to use that. Why? Because I just forgot. I apologize. Anywho, so we had some of that. I'll go through the public officer situation. I believe it was those two with the two women that had been defamed. Next, we've got forgery here. Again, that goes to the documents, because you have to fill out like a document and send it into Congress if you are an elector. Okay, sticky note, yeah. All right, next one, false statements. Again, a conspiracy to commit false statements, an attempt to commit filing false documents. Now, this case was a big case for all of the times we've talked about inchoate offenses, right? That's everybody's favorite, isn't it? Right? No. Well, let's take a minute, go back. Let's go back down that road, the inchoate road. A lot of what happened here, and a lot of reasons why people were arguing, like out in the world, about it, was they said, well, nothing happened. They might have thought about it, but who cares? Nothing happened. But the problem is these are actually crimes. So we have a set of offenses in the criminal world. I hope I spell it right. If I don't spell it right, I apologize. We call them inchoate offenses. All right, so inchoate crimes. And there's three. There's only three. One is solicitation. Solicitation. This is not like the Bunny Ranch out in Nevada. Thanks, Legal Dad, for that story today. That was great. Solicitation means you're asking somebody to commit a crime. All right, you're like, hey, I'm going to give you $100. Go do this bad thing. The next one is conspiracy. Conspiracy means that two or more people are getting a plan together to do something illegal. Conspiracy here. All right. All you have to do are substantial steps. Like you're going to go rob a bank. Wisco would be up for that, I'm sure. So when you're going to get ready to rob a bank, you get all the supplies, put it in the car, and then you're like, man, I don't know if we're going to do it or not. So they look and they see, did you do a lot of stuff, preparatory work, enough for it to be a substantial step that you could have done it? Because if so, then you've got, then you have, right, she was Frank. Then you've got conspiracy issues. And then the last one here is attempt. All right. Now that just means you tried, but you failed. These are unique because when we're dealing with crimes, we have an act and we have an intent, or an actus reus and a mens rea. And you have to have both of those pieces in order to charge a crime. And here the act is like you harmed someone. So it's an actual, movement that you're doing or something that you're doing. Here you're talking. You're just using your words. And that's a really difficult concept for a lot of people to understand. Is like, why am I getting charged with solicitation for just speaking? That's First Amendment right? Or, we were just hanging out and I didn't know you already had the barrels, in the back seat. I mean, whatever. So these are, you don't have the crime itself occurring. You do have a crime you want to have occurring, but it hasn't happened yet. And so what happens when you're charged here is that each one of these will merge into the original crime. So it's a conspiracy to burglarize a house. You would get charged then with the crime for burglary and attempted burglary and solicitation of a burglary. All right, so they move into the crimes that they were originally. So this is just a weird, funky area of the law that a lot of people struggle with because, again, it's like your words are going to get you into trouble with these kinds of cases. Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We have in the legal field, we have a lot of cases here, a lot of attempts. I mean, this is no big deal for us if you're working in the criminal sector, but if you're out in the other, real world, how can you say, okay, well, my words alone are going to get me charged with something? And then I would say to you, is it an inchoate plan? They plant fake electors from the onset. They did, Frank. They did. And they got called out on it. All right, so keep that in mind. So when we see these charges here, like conspiracy to commit or an attempt to commit, here, so we've got conspiracy, down here. And by the way, as a side note, the purple ones that got kicked out, those were solicitations. So we have all three inchoate forms in this indictment. So solicitation, a violation of oath, so they're asking the public officer to violate it. Conspiracy, two or more people doing this with substantial steps. An attempt here, again, showing substantial steps towards committing the crime. So almost all of these are inchoate offenses. Have to have the ability to carry out the threat. That's a bit of a gray area, though, Miss C. That's a gray area because, again, the in order for an inchoate offense to get charged, you do not have to have committed the crime. So if you can't commit the crime, you can't commit the crime. But the charge is you trying to put together the plan to do it. All right. So even if you physically cannot do it, if you're still planning it, then the inchoate would come into play. Very gray, exactly. Very, very gray. Definitely something that's argued quite a lot, actually. I would say that's one of the best arguments in inchoate offense cases. All right. So we got forgery here, everybody. We've got attempts, filing, false whatevers, like a lot, false statements. Here, and a computer invasion of privacy is a bit of a unique one. This is the Coffee County situation where where people were given access to private information that should not have had access to it. So we've got a conspiracy to defraud the state from this group of people coming in and digging around in computers that they shouldn't have been doing. We have a computer trespass up here, computer theft up here, and a conspiracy to commit election fraud here. I got to be careful with my E words, everybody. But these are also over here as well. So we've got conspiracy set out there. Right. Well, I mean, pretty flower, good question. I don't know. I mean, I don't really assess this case, and I haven't from the very beginning, with this idea of, the point is to, get him into prison. Like the point is to have accountability, sure, but that can be a lot of different things. So we've got a lot of different options for accountability. And as for will he be held accountable, at this point, it's too soon to know. Even though it's been years. It's been a long time. All right, everybody. So now that I've reminded you of that, let's skip forward here and start getting into what some of the things were. So I think the most helpful way to do this, and I have blocked out the jurors who were involved in this for their own safety, but you can see we've got quite a few people here. Not only that, but I don't know if the ones that have been with me a long time, like Frank, I'm not sure if you remember, VC, when we went through the grand jury's recommendations for who else should have been charged, and we had like congressmen on the list and various other people. So they didn't even charge as many people as the grand jury had suggested that they do. Right, Jennifer, right. It's been a long time, everybody. Thanks for hanging with me. All right, so cover that up. Next, we've got the list of counts here. So that's 9. Here's 10. All right, table of contents again. And these are just the counts, setting it out, making it a bit easier to understand. 50, 60, that's right. I mean, it was huge. It was like a packet where they found that probable cause existed for the crime being alleged by that person. But they went forward and I mean, I know she carved a lot out, but this is still a massive indictment. Pillars of support? No, not off the top of my head. Oh my gosh. Oh, Thomas, that's so sweet. I am. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I appreciate you asking. So here we go. Let's dive in. Here's our counts. Whoopsies again. Remind me if I forget my sticky notes. Here's our second page. Again, we're into count 28. Again, the different colors and annotations is how I tracked who got charged with what kind of crime and such. And then that way I could figure it out pretty easily here. And then the ones too that were kind of a specialty charges. And then we had one perjury in the back, count 41. No, I don't know anything about that, Acorn. Maybe I should, but I don't. So here we go. Let's just kind of dive in here, everyone, and we'll take a walk down memory lane now that this case is back. So we've got count 1 of 41. The grand jurors aforesaid, in the name and behalf of the citizens of Georgia, do hereby charge and accuse here, a Trump, a Giuliani, Eastman, Meadows, Cheesebro, Clark, Ellis, Smith III, Cheeley, Roman, Schaefer, Still, Lee, Floyd, Cuddy, Powell, Latham, Hall, and Hampton with the offense of violations of the Georgia RICO Act. Right out the chute, right? Seems like yesterday. So here we've got a Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, and this is the Georgia code number. So if you're interested, you can look that up. For the said accused individually and as persons concerned in the commission of a crime and together with unindicted co-conspirators, of which there are many, in the state of Georgia in the county of Fulton on and between the 4th day of November 2020 and the 15th day of September 2022, while associated with while associated with an enterprise, unlawfully conspired and endeavored to conduct and participate in, directly and indirectly, such enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity in violation of Georgia Code, as described below and incorporated by reference as if fully set forth herein, contrary to the laws of said state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof, which I love that boilerplate language. Yay! Well, there's a lot going on in the order of the cases here. And if you will remember, too, Jack Smith in the D.C. case, the first case that was charged was New York criminal and Angeron's case. And then, if I remember correctly, and then we had Florida, right? I think Florida was the first one that we saw. Then we had DC, and then, so I can't remember if Georgia was before or after DC. But Jack Smith was doing both the DC case and the Florida case at this point. Hello, Carrie. Good to see you, too. So we had a lot of stuff going on, and there were a lot of questions. And if I remember correctly, too, there were some congressmen like that, oh my gosh, that weird wrestler guy who was like, I'm coming after you, Fani, and, saying that she shouldn't have the authority to do any of this, and also that she was colluding with Jack, right? So they were trying to pull her credibility out. Yeah, New York, exactly. So, thank you very much. Oh, I love the little hearts. I love them. So here we go. In order to be charged, you need to have violated this section of the code. You need a leader. You need an organization. You need some racketeering going on. And you need at least 2 acts of those racketeering. So we will get into that as well. So here's our introduction. Was it Jim? I think it was Jim, some gym guy. Maybe that's why I think he was a wrestler, because his name was Jim. But anyway, he was after Ms. Funny Willis quite a bit. So there was that. Here's an introduction. Defendant, Mr. Orange, lost the United States presidential election. Yay! Held on November 3rd, 2020. Oh. One of the states he lost was Georgia. Orange and other defendants charged in this indictment refused to accept that Orange had lost, and they knowingly and willfully joined a conspiracy to unlawfully change the outcome of the LE in favor of Orange. That conspiracy contained a common plan and purpose to commit 2 or more acts of racketeering activity in Fulton County, Georgia, elsewhere in the state of Georgia, and in other states here. All right, so, yep, they had some mischievous things going on here. So here's the enterprise. They have to set out what the enterprise was, and then they have to set out the acts to put them together into the RICO. Here we go. At all times relevant to this count of the indictment, which is count 1, the defendants, as well as others not named as defendants, unlawfully conspired and endeavored to conduct and participate in a criminal enterprise in Fulton County, Georgia, and elsewhere. And then they're listing out the defendants here. Next, unindicted co-conspirators. We have individual 1 through individual 30. This is how Jack Smith did it in the DC case. He had said, I think there were 5 or 6 unnamed people. Like, we knew who they were, but they were unindicted and not named. And he kind of put them to the side just because Mr. Orange was the only one charged in that case. So here we also have a lot of people who were not indicted and probably made a deal. They're like, we'll tell you what we know if you don't indict us. So we've got 30 here, and others known and unknown to the grand jury constituted a criminal organization whose members and associates engaged in various related criminal activities, including but not limited to false statements and writings, impersonating a public officer, which we'll get to here in a few minutes, forgery, filing false documents, influencing witnesses, computer theft, computer trespass, computer invasion of privacy, conspiracy to defraud the state, acts involving theft, and perjury. This criminal organization constituted an enterprise as the term is defined in Georgia law, that is, a group of individuals associated in fact. The defendants and other members and associates of the enterprise had connections and relationships with one another and with the enterprise. The enterprise constituted an ongoing organization whose members and associates functioned as a continuing unit for a common purpose of achieving the objective of the enterprise. So again, this may be ringing a bell because this is how a lot of the organized crime people were pulled down through the RICOs in New York, right? So like the mafia mob people here. Keep that in mind. The enterprise operated in Fulton County, Georgia, elsewhere in the state of Georgia, and other states, including but not limited to Arizona, which is not where Legal Dad lives. No, it's not. He's in Nevada. We gotta remember that. All right, Arizona, Michigan, Nevada, that's where Legal Dad is. New Mexico, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. And I think Wisco might be from Wisconsin. And in the District of Columbia. All right, the enterprise operated for a period of time sufficient to permit its members and associates to pursue its objectives. Right, manner and method of enterprise. Next up. The manner and methods used by the defendants and other members and associates of the enterprise to further the goals of the enterprise and to achieve its purposes included, but were not limited to, the following. So we're going to have kind of an overview of what harms were done, all right, which crimes were done. Number 1, false statements to and solicitation of state legislatures. Members of the enterprise, including several of the defendants, appeared at hearings in Fulton County, Georgia, before members of the Georgia General Assembly on December 3rd of 2020, December 10th of 2020, and December 30th of 2020. At these hearings, members of the enterprise made false statements concerning fraud in the November 3rd I need to change this word here. The November 3rd event. We'll call it an event. The purpose of these false statements was to persuade Georgia legislators to reject lawful electoral votes. Contest. Okay. cast by the duly elected and qualified presidential electors from Georgia. Members of the enterprise corruptly solicited Georgia legislators instead to unlawfully appoint their own presidential electors for the purpose of casting electoral votes for Mr. Orange. Members of the enterprise also made false statements to state legislators during the hearings and meetings in Arizona, Michigan, and Pennsylvania in November and December of 2020 to persuade legislators in those states to unlawfully appoint their own presidential electors. That was pretty, that was pretty major. That was pretty major. Just as an FYI also, Congress did pass, shortly after everything went down, did pass a law kind of cleaning up what was kind of this weak spot in protocol. So this situation could not occur again because they have written law in to kind of close the problem here. Number 2, false statements to and solicitation of high-ranking state officials. Members of the enterprise, including several of the defendants, made false statements in Fulton County and elsewhere in the state of Georgia to Georgia officials, including the governor, the Secretary of State, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Members of the enterprise also corruptly solicited Georgia officials, including the Secretary of State and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, to violate their oaths to the Georgia Constitution and to the United States Constitution by unlawfully changing the outcome of the November 3rd contest. There we go. I think we're backwards. Oh, there we go. The November 3rd contest. What we're talking about there. I don't know. Did he win? I don't know. Really, Jobu? I thought Jobu was moving. I thought he was on the move, but that does make sense. He was even allowed to participate. I know, right? Oh my gosh, I know. Ugh. Yes. All right, so the November contest. In Georgia, in favor of Orange, members of the enterprise also made false statements to and solicited state officials in Arizona, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. 3, creation and distribution of false electoral college documents. So again, if you're just trying to put some documents together to give to Congress, like they can't be like fraudulent, you know? Like you really need to double check your work on that. Oh, he's in Vegas now. Okay. Oh my gosh, it is too cold. It is too cold. Yeah, I thought he was. I just remember him talking recently about fire detectors. All right, here we go. Members of the enterprise, right, including several of the defendants, created false electoral college documents and recruited individuals to convene and quote, I'm sorry, that's not a quote, and, and cast, this was before I figured I had a problem with one of the rings on my printer here. So little parts of the words are missing here. Here we go. All right. Cast false electoral college votes at the Georgia State Capitol in Fulton County on December 14th of 2020. After the false electoral college votes were cast, members of the enterprise transmitted the votes to the president, I forgot my sticky note, of the United States Senate, the archivist of the United States, the Georgia Secretary of State, and the Chief Judge of the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Georgia. The false documents were intended to disrupt and delay the joint session of Congress on January 6th of 21 in order to unlawfully change the outcome of the November 3rd contest in favor of Orange. Similar schemes were executed by members of the enterprise in Arizona, Michigan, Nevada, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. So again, oh my gosh, seriously, Buford? Okay, hold on. Don't kick him out yet, everybody. Just a minute. Let's all take a look. Buford here. What? You're seeing about 10% of it, girl. Well, I'm a woman. And then next, proof is coming very quick. I'm not sure what you mean. I was about to boot him. Okay, yeah. All right. This case was from like a few years ago, Dingleberry. Now, there was evidence in all of the 84 lawsuits that they filed, trying to say it was done incorrectly. There was also the evidence put into the DC case and the espionage case, even in Florida. So this whole situation was flooded with evidence. So there you go. Yeah, there's nothing coming, Buford. They're not coming. All right, it's over. This is over. All right. 2 weeks. Oh boy. Okay. That's it. I just wanted to clarify that for a minute. And moderators, do whatever you feel is the best thing. I just wanted to make sure I confirmed with him that there's a lot of evidence. Because there was. I mean, stupid amount of evidence. Oh my goodness. All right, here we go, back in it. So the false documents intended to disrupt delayed joint session of Congress in order to unlawfully change the outcome of that competition, right? Now, we mustn't forget, we had filings against the electors in Michigan. We had, I think, I can't remember if it was Nevada or New Mexico, but one of them had filed the complaint incorrectly. But anyway, and then Pennsylvania was the odd one out because the fake elector people, or the ones that they had corralled, had said, you need to give us some kind of evidence that we can do this. We don't even know that this is lawful. So they included a couple pieces just for Pennsylvania in order to kind of CYA, and that was very smart. And that's why the people in Pennsylvania have not gotten dragged into this as bad. And then Wisconsin, of course, which, there's trouble there. Here we go. Harassment and intimidation of Fulton County election worker Ruby Freeman. So Miss Ruby Freeman and her, I'm not going to remember her name. I just want to make sure I get her name correct here. It's going to be really taking it back to court. Well, they could. They could. I just want to make sure that I've got the right name here. Oh, I think we're just dealing with Ruby here as far as the indictment goes. In Wisconsin, trouble in his name's oh my gosh. Able to talk about other states to prove a pattern. Yes, they can. Yes, and that's part of why the RICO is such a great way to charge this kind of a case, is because the acts in the other states are added to it. So Pennsylvania, again, kind of cleared things up for themselves. Hello, Lisa. Hello. I'm doing okay. Number 4, harassment, intimidation of Fulton County election worker Ruby Freeman. I thought there were 2 women for some reason. Anyway, squirrel. Members of the enterprise, including several of the defendants, falsely accused Fulton County election worker Ruby Freeman of committing election crimes in Fulton County. I'm not going to be able to say the E word again. It was her mom. Okay. That's right. These false accusations were repeated to Georgia legislators and other Georgia officials in an effort to persuade them to unlawfully change the outcome of the contest in favor of the orange. In furtherance of this scheme, members of the enterprise traveled from out of state to harass Freeman, intimidate her, solicit her to falsely confess crimes that she did not commit. So this is where we're getting into mugshot. Hold on, everybody. I'm trying to give you a heads up. But the Floyd, the Cuddy, and the Lee fella, these 3 were the ones involved specifically in that action here. Shay Moss. Okay. Right. Oh, thanks, VC. I could not remember her name. But those ladies, yeah, she did. Those ladies won a defamation lawsuit against Giuliani, hands down. And received, I think, like one of the largest punitive damages amount that I have seen. I'm sure there's plenty out there, but for me in my world, I've not seen one that large anytime recently. But of course, that was cut into a more reasonable amount later, and so on. Yeah, but they had, oh my gosh, Frank, you remember he had to give his his son was trying to save the what was it, Super Bowl rings or World Series rings or something. He had some rings, and the son's like, he was gonna give them to me, and well, all right. And then he had someone's like red sports car, had his penthouse, and then his Florida address. He had a lot of stuff, and was literally giving everything over to them. The Yankee rings, right, right. Oh my gosh, those were that was a yikes. And then he would still go and say it. It's like, come on, man. All right, here we go. So they were, she was specifically harassed, along with her mother as well. But again, we don't have to have all the specific details when we're looking at an indictment at this level. Solicitation of high-ranking U.S. Department of Justice officials. So this is where things get a little bit sticky again, right? Because if you look at our DOJ now, like 70% of the attorneys are gone, which means 30% of the attorneys that are there, like, don't have any ethics, and, you know, they don't care. They'll file what they're told to file. And so our DOJ is absolutely compromised at this point. But let's take a look back when when we had some faith in that DOJ. Yes, thanks, Charles. Oh yeah, thanks for coming over. You're usually over on the tube of you, but it's good to see you. Here we go. Members of the enterprise, including several of the defendants, corruptly solicited high-ranking U.S. Department of Justice officials to make false statements to government officials in Fulton County, Georgia, including the governor, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and the President pro tempore of the Senate. In one instance, Orange stated to the acting U.S. Attorney General, so the acting United States Attorney General, just say that the election was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressmen, right? Imagine if this had been Pam Bondi, right? We would so full of hope. So full of hope in the olden days. This is pretty major here. 6, solicitation of the Vice President of the United States. This was another one here where his discussions with Pence were actually removed from the indictment because of the immunity case, right? Everyone remembers the immunity case. Immunity case, I guess. So this, real quick, as a side quest, here is our immunity ruling. So Trump v. U.S. This is where they set out this answer to a question. May a president be charged with a criminal offense if he did it when he was president? All right. So this is where we've got questions of whether or not it's an official act or not. The reason this case came up, oh my gosh, I have nightmares about the Fitzgerald case. Like, come on, people. We had civil cases that had set out immunities for presidents, right? So if you had done something civilly wrong before you became president or after, you were fine. You could get charged with that. It was no big deal. But then with Nixon and Clinton, they were saying, well, if you get sued when you are in office, what's going to happen? And they said you are protected. So we already had a good standard for the civil road. And the Fitzgerald case kind of even knocked that out a bit more. We did not have an answer for criminal. We had no case involving a president committing a crime and what standards would be used. We don't have any of that. So we do have another civil case, the Blasingame case, that is the civil case for the DC case, right? Where people were hurt by his behavior. And they are still wading through the process of trying to determine what's an official act and what's not. Because if it's not official act, it's not covered by immunity. If it's an act he did with Congress, it's not covered by immunity. This particular case, if it's a civil case, this immunity doesn't apply because this only applies to criminal cases here. So just kind of a quick refresher on that. When we went through this, and we've gone through it multiple times because it's crazy vague and the Supreme Court, do better. But the two pieces I think all of us agreed on were the treaties and the pardon power. Those were the ones that we absolutely knew would be seen as official acts. Everything else, well, it's going to have to get in front of John Roberts again. willing to, well, right. Yeah. Yeah, questions. All right. I've got my big office chair in here. So anytime I'm turning, it's going to make squeaky sounds, everybody. I feel compelled to tell you that. All right, back into it. We've got solicitation of the vice president. The reason, again, why I brought this up, yay, confetti, we love that. We love the confetti, thank you. Just because it's fun. Now, this one, again, was taken out because of the immunity case, but originally it was pled. So members of the enterprise, including several of the defendants, corruptly solicited the vice president of the United States to violate the U.S. Constitution and federal law by unlawfully rejecting electoral college votes cast in Fulton County, Georgia, by the duly elected and qualified presidential electors from Georgia. Members of the enterprise also corruptly solicited the vice president to reject votes cast by the duly elected and qualified presidential electors for several other states. And so I will need to stop using the E word again for a little bit. Let the bots go by. That's how I feel. Sometimes I feel like I'm in Star Wars and it's like, these are not the droids you're looking for. I'm going to go back to saying regular words. Hello, Ian. Hello. I'm blaming on the chair. No blame. Just explanation. All right. Next, unlawful breach. So again, this is pretty major, right? Putting pressure on the vice president to go forward and do something that even the vice president himself had already told him. He's like, that's not legal. Right. So, unlawful breach of election equipment. Again, I'm going to need to change my E word in Georgia and elsewhere. This is really important because a lot of people would say, there was some kind of breach in these machines and the process of it. So we should all do hand tallying again. Right. But they're the ones here who are actually doing that, doing what they are saying is so wrong. They're doing it. And it is set out here. Dan Quayle. Oh my gosh. Well, I wonder what he's doing these days. Whoops, squirrel, back in it. Members of the enterprise, including several of the defendants, corruptly conspired in Fulton County, Georgia, and elsewhere to unlawfully access secure equipment and people data. In Georgia, members of the enterprise stole data, including ballot images, the V equipment, software, and personal V information. This, this has like the essence of the Doge. So I'm just going to write this here because it's reminding me of that. Like, oh, look, all this information you shouldn't have access to. All right. The stolen data was then distributed to other members of the enterprise, including members in other states. Really? A farm in Montana? Nice. Right. So, all right, we're flipping now. We're over to, oops, we should have one more piece here. Oh, here it is. Okay, here's the last one, everybody. And then we can kind of dive through a different area. Obstructive acts in furtherance of the conspiracy and the cover-up. Again, when we're filing a RICO, we're saying that there's an enterprise they're all participating in. Mugshots coming, everyone. All right, be careful. So we have a leader of the enterprise, and then we have the people following the enterprise and committing the wrongful acts. And you only need two, but we've got, I think they put like 220 different acts in here. So I know it's bad. I know. But it's important. I mean, visually you can see this now, how this happened, right? So we have this guy here was leading the charge against the DOJ, right? So he's like, no, we needed blah, blah, blah. And then we have, let's see, this fella here who's like, here, I just wrote up what the elector thing is supposed to look like. Everybody sign it. And then these two were going in front of, the houses of representatives saying, we know best, just, come back in to session and change your votes, right? So everyone played a role here in what happened in Georgia. And that's why there's so many. You saw your eyelashes. Ah, that's funny. All right, well, we got to go quick here. Here. I don't want to start laughing and not be able to stop. Oh my gosh, he does. Yeah, he really does. All right, here we go. Last one. Members of the enterprise, including several of the defendants, filed false documents. That's the electors, right? So you had to sign your name and say one vote for whatever. Made false statements to government investigators, right? And committed perjury in judicial proceedings in Fulton County, Georgia, and elsewhere in furtherance of and to cover up the conspiracy, which again is one of our inchoate offenses that we were talking about. So that sets out the plan. So that's the scheme of how things were going to go. All right. You know, that was fun. Actually, I remember, I mean, again, we're being nostalgic. Where were they then? So I remember Floyd couldn't bail out. Does anyone remember that? Everybody just came in and basically like wrote a check and then they were OR'd. It didn't really matter. They did have some conditions. And if you remember, there was one thing with DA Willis. She had tried to say some of the statements that Orange was saying on his social media were violating his terms and conditions of bail. And she was like, I want a hearing so we can show you he's violating it so that we can revoke his OR. Yikes. He had no money, right. But everybody here was like, here's some cash, and then they walked out, except for Mr. Floyd. Mr. Floyd was not. No, not the turkey. Oh my goodness. He was not in the same place. So he financially, so he has some trouble. He was hanging out there. And I remember a lot of people would ask questions during the live and they're like, is Floyd still in? I'm like, well, yep, he's still in. And there were a lot of troubles, right? Because the jail there is not, it's not a hotel. It's uncomfortable, unpleasant, and such. Yes, he was broke. But, right, so this guy was there for a while. And if we look again, we've got Meadows. He was the one that really separated himself from the pack. He really kept trying to file over and over and over again that he had the protection of being a federal worker. So again, we go up to the U.S. Court of Appeals, up and up, over and over, multiple times. But the rest of these, characters were, in different roles. So we've got these two talking to the representatives. I'm not sure exactly how Powell worked with other things, but she was pivotal in the computer stuff. She was the one going forward in the Coffee County, along with this lady Latham here in Hampton. So CC, which means Coffee County. So she was like, yeah, come on in, look. Meadows has disappeared. I would too. Better than Mark. Well, I don't know. Right, exactly. Now, then, too, we could look and see we've got some extra attorneys here just hanging out, being whatever's here. Cheesebro also, remember that. And then we've got fake electors. So this Schaefer fellow's like, I'm an elector, sure. And then this guy here, Mr. Still, was like, I'm also an elector. So that's why they were pulled in, along with Latham. Now, one thing to note, too, that Cheesebro, so Cheese and Crackers, asked for speedy, which means everyone was rushing to get their cases done. Rushing. So they had 90 days to bring an entire RICO case to trial when you are requesting speedy. And so what happened was the closer we got to the trial date, the more work we did. And in fact, we even got as far as looking at jury questionnaires until they said, well, we're going to go ahead and plead out. So they pled out. He had pled out first. Hall here, Mr. Hall, he was the pilot dude. He went out first. And then we had Cheesebro, Powell, and Ellis. And she kind of was, she was not in the same involvement as the others, but she was ready to just get out of trouble here. Claimed to be Napoleon. That's a good question. I got no idea. Oh my goodness, Frank. Come on. There could be kids out here. really sorry for getting into it. I think so too, VC. I think so too. Anyway, so here's the posse that was involved in all of this, and the case is still running, as we're saying here. It's still running. So we've got. I'll just show you, flip you through here. Getting creeped out. I know, got to take it away. Can't stay out for too long. So the first part, again, we're going through the racketeering activities, and that's why each piece is an act. They go through and set out the date, the time, and what the act was that could be included, because they need 2 per person to show that a RICO was in play. So they went through all of the different pieces. And if you may note that the indictment in DC is very similar. It's very similar wording here. So I'm not sure who wrote it, but it was basically, a copy, just with a few little things changed here and there. But all of these acts in this format was exactly how Jack did it in DC for the criminal case. Yes, very, very detailed. So again, which acts were committed in Georgia and which tweets were used, how the information was pulled illegally from the computers. I mean, there was a lot to this case, and there still is. There still is a lot to this case. There's a lot of wrongdoing that occurred here. And, not just like, oh, well, whoops. No, this is some serious intent. This is an enterprise type situation. Act 55. Now you might think, well, 55, we're good to go. No, and I think it goes all the way. Let's fast forward a little bit. Fast forward. It all went to, and we're still going, more. I think it's like, sorry, here we go. There's the last page. There's so much evidence. This is all evidence. All of these acts are like, what? Oh my gosh. All right, here we go. Yes, so 161 acts, of which they need 2. They just need 2 in order for this to be a RICO situation. All right, now one of the other questions that was asked quite a bit during the process of this, like all of these people with their attorneys had tons of motions they were filing. Motions to dismiss, motions demurs, which are basically like a bill of particulars. So again, kind of going after the law itself in Georgia. They had a lot of that going on. Oh yeah, lots of troubles. Directly, right. So they kept having hearings, and some of them would have hearings together, and sometimes it would just be one hearing. We had Floyd, who had left, and he was supposed to stay in the area, and so it's like, dude. And then Cuddy also, she had some problems as well. So there were a lot of things going on, and this judge was just busy as all could be. So he was very serious, though. When he pulled counts out of the indictment, it was like a 20-page decision, and he explained it, every little piece of it. So he was very careful in listening in all of the different kinds of hearings, which again would get tedious because they were arguing the law itself in Georgia rather than any of the acts or any of the things that had been done. They just said, well, your law's bad. And so he's listening to all of that as well. And it just took a long time, a lot of work to go through all of that crap. But this is kind of something that this orange fella is known for, right? Is going and taking every single tiny little thing, throw it at the wall, see what can slow everything down. And in Georgia, truly, I think the goal was to slow it down as much as possible before November. And they succeeded because later, of course, we had the questions about D.A. Willis come in, and that was an ugly mess. And then all of the appeals up and down and up and down. So they certainly did waste enough time to get to November, which, is a problem. And then now here we are. It's November, a year later, right? A year later, and we are just now picking this up again. So it's taken a while. Yeah, the Supreme Court's got questions. Yeah, I think McAfee will still be the judge. That's one of the things here too, is like maybe, Georgia Court of Appeals, maybe you could, put your foot on the pedal. Let's go, man, right? Like, why are we waiting around? And the Court of Appeals like took what, 6 months, 3 to 6 months to make their decision. And then when you appeal that, then you go to your highest court. So, I mean, we're here stuck in the, circles of appeals trying to get it sorted out. Right, mucking up the system. Well, right. And, I'm not trying to say if you have tools, if you have rights, don't use them. I'm not saying that. But it's all about how you go about it, right? It's how you go about it. Is it with good intent? You have grounds for asking what you're asking. You're not just BSing, which there was a lot of BSing occurring. So, yes, there's a lot. Is he winking? No. Sorry, it's my hands. The makeup's going on and off. Oh my goodness gracious, everybody. All right. Well, so the last part here, we'll just we got to do some closing it down here. Final comments. After these acts were all set out here, then we start getting into the actual criminal counts. So the acts are separate because the acts don't necessarily need to be criminal. They just need to be in pursuit of the enterprise, right? So the criminal things need to, of course, have the criminal elements. But a lot of times they were saying, you can use these. You can use this as an act, but you can't use it to charge with. So up here, we've got a shift. We're switching now to the counts. So although enormous, this is an incredibly well-organized indictment. So count 5 of 41. So we know how many counts there are, total 41. And then each different person, each different time frame is set out, exactly what they did. We have different quotes in here when they're dividing up all of the acts that were going on. Because again, there were 3 primary situations going on to fulfill the destiny of the cheating. So there was that. So finally, when we fast forward all the way to the end, then we get to count 41, which I believe is perjury. Yes, it is. So the final count here, and then we've got our district attorney's signature. So that's the last page. But then everybody, I threw this in just as a bonus. Who remembers this? Who remembers this? This was some crazy times because we were all waiting for the Georgia indictment to come down. Like we knew it was coming at any time. And I was like, I just need to hit print, when's it coming? But then there was all these questions about whether or not it was okay because originally something had been filed and then taken back. And so they were trying to use that as a means of saying, well, the indictment's bad then because somebody filed something. And this is what they filed. And it was incorrectly done as a filing. And so they pulled it back. But of course, we all got it. We only needed 2 minutes to get it out and print it. It was loaded too early. Exactly. But this, it happens. It's clerical stuff. It happens. But then everyone, I just thought it was interesting that they're like, oh, well, yeah, you filed it too early, so I guess, none of the other stuff matters. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Oh my gosh, thanks for the confetti, everybody. Oh, are we making it? I tried to, I'm not going to be going through and like resetting stuff. That's just not really my groove. But I really thought the confetti would be fun. And I was right. It's very fun. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. All right, so there we go. Walk down memory lane. What will happen next? We do not know. I'm very pleased to hear, though, that they're keeping on going, moving forward, that it's not just getting cast to the side. So we have the DC case that has been dismissed without prejudice, and then we have the Florida case that's been dismissed also without prejudice, but we were on an appeal. And that's one of the things with the Florida case that's such a pain in the keister is this question of whether or not Jack Smith was appropriately brought in. Now, we don't have that issue in DC because they're like, no, that's stupid. Of course, he came in correctly. But in Florida, the judge there used that as a reason to dismiss the case. Can we close out the confetti goal? Oh, I don't know. Well, let's see. I'm looking and I'm seeing the confetti flying, everybody. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, that's so sweet. Make sure to send your heart. I don't know what that means if you haven't already. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. I don't know anything about all these fun things, but they're really fun to watch. Look at that confetti. Boston, everybody. Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, we did it. Thank you. Yay, team. It was, I have to admit, the naughty chicken was also very fun, but I think tonight was perfect for the confetti. There's a gummy bear in there. I really struggled. I'm like, do I want to do confetti or do I want to do a gummy bear? So we may do a gummy bear tomorrow. Oh my gosh, so much fun. Well, thank you for coming by, everybody, and having this walk down memory lane here. I'm keeping my eyes on it. We'll see what happens here. You'll explain it to me. Thanks, Kay. I appreciate that. Can you explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old? That's the best. That's the best way for me. Oh my gosh. Have a great one, everyone. Take care again. Thanks for coming by. Of course. Thanks for the memories. Yes, of course, Frank. See you later, everybody. Have a great night.